Hey everyone, it's Nate. Welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for fans and collectors of vinyl records. And I want to welcome each of you to our first annual Vinyl Guide Holiday Gift Guide. In today's episode, we're going to be sharing all sorts of information on products and items that you may want to consider for the vinyl collector on your holiday gift list. And of course, if you are the recipient of such sort of products, you may want to forward this episode to your loved ones for suggestions on what they may be able to get you this holiday season. All the items I'm talking about today are under $50, and they're not vinyl records. So make sure to listen up and make some notes. I have plenty of links on the Vinyl Guide website, www.thevinylguide.com, where you can check these out directly. And also, we're going to hear a story from a Vinyl Guide listener who stumbled upon a treasure trove of rare acetates of Frank Sinatra recordings once owned by Ava Gardner and Old Blue Eyes himself. It is an absolute dream find, and they also are for sale, so I'll provide a link so you can check out pictures and possibly even own these historic recordings. And today's episode is brought to you by nobody. I'm not taking any sponsorship dollars for this episode. It's all brought to you by the kindness of my heart. So with that, let's get into our first annual Vinyl Guide Holiday Gift Guide episode and the story of the Frank Sinatra acetates.
Do you listen to and collect vinyl records? Well, you're in luck. Welcome to the Vinyl Guide, the podcast made for record nerds like yourself. Here's your host, the biggest record nerd of them all, Nate Goyer.
Hey everyone, I hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming here to the Vinyl Guide, another episode of the podcast for fans and collectors of vinyl records. I love saying that. Today we have a commercial-free episode for you. And why no sponsorship, you may ask? Well, it's because today we are starting a new tradition. It's the first annual Vinyl Guide Holiday Gift Guide. Now, I'm going to share some great holiday gift ideas for the vinyl enthusiast on your gift list. Stuff that's like under $50, and many of them far less. Look, I know buying records for other people can be difficult. You don't know what they have. You don't know what pressing they want. You don't know if you're getting the right one. It can be very complicated, and record collectors can be very finicky. I know I am. My wife struggles with getting me anything without me specifically asking for it. So rather than try to cope with that kind of guesswork at the right artist or the right album title, the right pressing or condition, I'll share some ideas that will be more for record accessories, items that they definitely do not have, and will be fun and interesting accessories for their vinyl hobby. And also, we'll be speaking with Mike Rawlins, a gentleman who's going to be telling a story about finding a treasure trove of acetates from Frank Sinatra. One-off recordings of songs that were made specifically for Frank to listen to and critique. Mike will tell the story, and if you find yourself wanting to add these records to your collection, they are for sale. And there's an eBay link on our website, www.thevinylguide. You can go check out the pictures and bid for yourself. But I think the story is really quite interesting and fun to share. It's one of those record fishing stories when you caught the big one. You know, you were digging through a crate and unexpectedly ran across a Robert Johnson 78 or something amazingly rare. Well, this guy, Mike, has definitely done so, and he'll tell the story around it. And of course, you can see pictures online. So make sure to check out www.thevinylguide.com for more information on these Frank Sinatra acetates. And I also need to let you guys know the Vinyl Guide podcast is now available on Google Play.
See a broad to get that booty yack'em? Leg her down or smack 'em yack'em. Cold got to be.
So, aside from Apple iTunes, Stitcher, regular old RSS feeds, online playing from the Vinyl District website, we've now been added and featured on Google Play. Now, it took a while, but thankfully it's there. So those of you with Android devices or a penchant for Google technology, check us out on Google Play. I think the Google Play system is currently only available in the US, but I'm sure it's going to be expanding to other countries soon. So there we go. The Vinyl Guide audience continues to grow.
Knock yourself a pro slick. The gray matter back, lot performers down, not take TCB in, man.
So for the first half of the show, let's get into our discussion with Mike and hear the story about his stash of the Frank Sinatra acetates. This is is Nate, the Vinyl Guide, and I am online with Mike Rawlins. Now, who is Mike Rawlins, you ask? Well, you may not know Mike, but I think you'll be really interested in the story he has to tell. Mike has come across a few very rare Frank Sinatra acetates, and we're going to talk about this story now. Mike, can you share with us a little bit of background of what led you to these acetates?
Sure, Nate, and thanks for having me on. I hope the listeners enjoy it. Well, I'll try to make a long story short and entertaining anyway. Ava Gardner is from North Carolina. Anybody that's probably a Sinatra fan knows the background of Sinatra and Ava. They were married between 51 and 57 and remained friends the rest of their lives. He even sent flowers to her funeral and paid some of the bills. So anyway, Ava died in 1990, and Sotheby's initially had an auction of some of her belongings. There weren't any records in that auction. Ava had several siblings, and her sister had passed away in 2005. They had an auction of her things, and the records were not in that auction either. So moving forward, 2007, there was another auction of Ava's things, Heritage Auction out of Texas. They did have these very records listed singly for auction. They sold, I think, a couple, and the rest of them went back to the family. I was in a tire shop one day, and just to keep the anonymity of Ava's heir still private at this point, I met John. I looked over, and John had a T-shirt on that said Ava Gardner Museum. I struck up a conversation, asked him if he was aware that, if he attended the Ava Gardner auction that they had a few years earlier. And he said, well, I'm the one that held it. So we started talking recordings. I asked him if Ava had ever recorded anything, and he said, well, it's you, not many. He asked me if I was interested in records. He had some Sinatra records, so I came over to look at them, expecting the typical red label Columbias that you see all the time. And he pulls these out, and they look like new, and there were 11 or 12 personal acetates, studio recordings from Hollywood that Frank brought home. Obviously, Frank brought them home. They ended up with Ava and then passed down through the family over the years. So that's how I come across the records. And, we struck up a friendship, and I said, well, let me try to sell those for you. So I've had them on eBay looking for someone who might be interested in the rare recordings at some point. I've had some interest, probably not the best avenue for what these recordings are.
Have you played the acetates?
I've played every one, like most people who just love music and collect the old 78s. It's a sickness, I guess.
We're right there with you, brother.
I play them, and I always want to try to be as accurate about grading just on the sound quality. So I played every one. Some of the records, you get to the end, and you'll actually hear where the engineer started to rewind the tape just as the recording was going off. The unusual thing is one that I actually purchased from John. He was gracious enough to sell it to me. There were 2 copies of a blues song that I can't find anywhere, and the title is actually in the ad. But the one that I purchased off of him, there were 2 copies. One has 2 sides that's in the ad. One was a single side, and the engineer calls off the record. He says, this is record 4169, and you hear a click track. And if you turn the bass down, the treble up, you can actually hear the engineer still coming through the glass. He's shouting off 1, 2, 3, 4. Then a harmonica starts, and Frank starts singing. So, and there's also apparently a song that was never released, and I was surprised they didn't release it on the 100-year anniversary, because it was supposedly, transcript songs from shows and things. His song to Ava was always "You're My Thrill." It was a common jazz tune recorded by several artists back in the day. Frank never commercially released it. We had 3 copies, and he sang it on a TV show or something. So that was his song to Ava. He cut 3 copies. That ended up in the family. Well, the family gave 1 copy to the museum. John still owns 2, and there's 1 of those listed singly out there for sale as well. But it was never commercially recorded, so it's just very unique, the records. and the tone and fidelity are incredible.
This is really interesting because inside this small collection, there are songs that aren't commercially available anywhere, and so he recorded them as a master at some point. Perhaps a few folks took the acetate home, and at one point the decision was made just not to go further with it. But at least nobody else has a copy of it except this inside the studio vault somewhere, perhaps, and on these acetates.
That's true, Nate. And I mean, you don't know if the boys in the band or the producer or someone in the studio also took a copy home to listen to. They said, "Well, let's make sure this is the final copy, or let's see what Frank. Let us know if you're happy with the vocal, that type of thing." There is one set of 45 acetates in there. They're the size of a 78. One says master reference, and the other says reference dub, and it was the probably very, very early recording. I don't know if it was done in late 50s, early 60s. I would have to look again, but there was a master acetate in there for one of his songs when they started to produce 45 RPMs. But other than that, the rest are all just 78 acetates. Some are single side, some are double side. Some, and you look at the pictures in the ad, some of them just have grease markings on them, grease pencil markings. They don't have a label. But they're just phenomenal. I mean, the clarity really surprised me, the fidelity on them, and I'm playing them on basically a small school record player with a good needle on it, so I don't damage them or anything. But they're just incredible.
I just winced when you said that, so please, put them back in the sleeve. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and post a few pictures of these on the Vinyl Guide website, thevinylguide.com. Of course, give links to where you can find out more, and perhaps even someone out there will end up bidding and owning this piece of record history. It really is quite cool. And of course, I'm assuming they get anyone who would pick up these records gets the story behind it, the authentication, any sort of help from the Ava Gardner estate to verify the authenticity of these.
Oh, absolutely. A personal letter along with the photograph and the air. John is, he and a brother bear a very striking resemblance to Ava. And there's also some published video with John in them because he had some unusual stories to tell about, Frank and the relationship with Ava and some things that I'll also share along with that too. And his photograph is actually published in, I don't know if it was Poster Life. I actually have a copy of that, and I'll share all that information. I mean, there's all the information is very easily validated and verified, but they'll get a letter of authenticity written and signed by John, and of course his photograph, and then I'll add an additional page with interesting facts and things that they can look up to further validate and verify. Just interesting things from the family.
Yes, full provenance. That's what the Vinyl Guide listeners are going to be looking for. Mike, thanks for sharing the story. You've experienced one of the stories that all record collectors hope to have at least once in their life, just abruptly stumbling upon gold totally unexpectedly. And it really does pay to strike up conversations with strangers occasionally, doesn't it?
Boy, it sure does.
Be nice to everybody out there. All right, so I'll go ahead and put some more pictures and some links on the Vinyl Guide website, and hopefully there's a lucky listener out there who's going to add these to their collection. Mike, thanks so much for sharing your story.
Nate, thank you for inviting me to speak with you today.
No worries. Good luck. So I want to welcome everyone to the first annual Vinyl Guide Holiday Gift Guide episode. Now, this is hopefully the first of many episodes throughout the years that we'll do around ideas and thoughts of what to buy the vinyl record collector on your holiday gift list. Now, we know there are lots of options. You can always buy somebody a record, but will you get the right record That's the question. And quite often, the answer is no. And it's not because you haven't tried or put some thought into it. Record collectors, we're finicky people, right? And it's not always just what artist or what title we're looking for, but what is striking us at the time? What is the thing that is foremost in our mind that we'd love to find? Sometimes that plays into it as well. So rather than taking a chance and getting a record that the person may or may not want, we'd like to share some ideas about the sort of record accessories and things that go with the vinyl hobby, things that just about every record collector would absolutely be able to use. So today's show, I'm going to be going through about half a dozen different ideas, all of them under $50, that you can buy for the vinyl record enthusiast on your holiday gift list. Now, the first product I'm going to recommend here is GrooveWasher.com. Now, GrooveWasher, I'm going to be full disclosure, they are friends of the show. They do sponsorships regularly of the Vinyl Guide podcast, but it is a great product. I love using the GrooveWasher. Look, there's several reasons why I enjoy and recommend the GrooveWasher to the vinyl record collecting enthusiast. Number one, everyone needs a record cleaner. All vinyl collectors need some way to be able to clean their records. Now, if you're the sort of vinyl collector that is cleaning 30 and 40 records a day, this probably isn't the product for you. You need one of those big, $1,000, $2,000 machines. But for the folks who have smaller collections, the folks who don't have record shops, the folks that are consider themselves more hobbyists and crate diggers, both beginner and getting into serious as well, the GrooveWasher is perfect. It's got this wonderful fluid and this brush that comes with it that really makes records super duper clean. And I use mine just about every day. I'm a big fan of the GrooveWasher record cleaning system. They're also about $50. The starter kit started about $50. You could add on accessories and that sort of thing. But clearly, for way less than $100, you can get an excellent record cleaning system with enough fluid that'll last you for a couple of years. So I've tried a bunch of the other systems, all the methods and the machines. I still think the GrooveWasher record cleaning system is the best bang for the buck. It's small, it's unobtrusive, it doesn't require a large space, and over time, as you need more fluid, you could just order more. I mean, the fluid's kind of the gold, right? You get the brush and the cleaning system, and then, you order the fluid as you need it. So there it is. If you have a vinyl record collector on your Christmas list and they don't have a way to clean their records, or they have one of those crappy cloths with the kind of the spray-on stuff, and you hear them complain about it pretty regularly, just go to GrooveWasher.com. It's an ideal gift for every record collector who needs a cleaner. Now, the second holiday gift idea I want to share with you guys is the Blues Images 2017 Blues Calendar. Now, earlier this year, we spoke to a guy named John Tefteller, who's a world-renowned record collector. He regularly spends tens of thousands of dollars on purchasing the rarest blues records from around the world. Many of these records that he buys are really the only existing, or the one of just a handful of existing copies known. So their rarity means that the records are worth thousands of dollars. Now, John is a huge fan of blues music, and he really wants to spread the word of blues music around, kind of get the younger generation into blues music. So every year, John puts together a CD of some of the rarest blues songs from his collection, and he puts it inside this blues calendar, which is available at bluesimages.com. Just go to bluesimages.com. You could read all about it. Now, it's a calendar plus a CD with about 24 songs, some of the rarest music in American history, generally pre-war blues. Now, these are records, again, John has spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to acquire, and even more to have the records restored and professionally transferred to a digital format. The 2017 calendar features newly restored versions of songs by Charlie Patton, Big Bill Broonzy, Skip James, and even more. Now, the CD is part of this whole calendar package, and the calendar is cool in itself. It features these rare advertisements of the old blues records when they were originally released, as well as facts about the musicians and the music that you're going to hear. It's a really charming package. It's educational, and it's something your friend or your loved one will enjoy all year round, seeing as the calendar is for all of 2017. Now, the price for this calendar, it's only $25 plus shipping from bluesimages.com. I highly recommend this for gifts or personal treats for your friends or even for yourself. Heck, buy a few and just pass them around. Even people who aren't into records or blues music, but just into interesting things in history will really enjoy and appreciate this very unique gift. That's the Blues Images calendar, available at bluesimages.com. The next gift idea I'll share are Mofi record inner sleeves. Mofi, M-O-F-I, or Mobile Fidelity record sleeves. Now, let me explain. Traditionally, inner record sleeves, the sleeves that are inside the major sleeve that hold the actual record, were made out of paper. And of course, those were for advertisements and for, inexpensive materials to be able to house the record. However, paper tends to break down. As we all know, it rips easy. It starts to flake away after time. It starts to, particles start to come off of it, and it creates dust and dirt. Paper is really not the ideal material to have around your records. It could also scuff and make marks on the records, not deep scratches or anything, but it could just kind of look, make these ugly marks. They call them the paper scuffs. So if you have collectible records, you may want to consider using a different type of record sleeve. And that's where Mobile Fidelity or Mofi record inner sleeves come in. Now, you can get a pack of 50 of these sleeves, and they're made out of kind of a rice paper, plasticky thing, but it's made for housing records for long periods of time. It's archive quality material. So in my case, my most collectible records I have, the ones that are, $50 or dollars or more, I tend to put into Mofi record sleeves because they are going to last longer and treat my records the best. When you have a $50 record, it really is a bit of an investment and you need to take care of it. Now, Mofi record sleeves, they're not that expensive. You can, I encourage you guys to always try to buy from your independent record shops, walk in and give them money. However, if you don't have a local record shop, you order stuff online only, you could buy a packet of 50 Mofi record sleeves online at Amazon for about $20. So I would highly encourage you, if you don't already have some, or the record collector on your gift list has some collectible level records that may still be in those paper inner sleeves, get them a pack of 50 Mofi record collector sleeves. They're great to have around. They'll use them throughout the year, and it's a great idea to make sure that their record investment retains its value. Now, here's another really cool product that I bet very few of you have heard. It's called SID Def Jam, SYDDEFJAM. Now, I came across this product in my local record shop, the Vintage Record here in Sydney, Australia. The SID Def Jam thing, it's a combination 7-inch record adapter and record weight. Now, those record weights that some people use on their turntables? They put the record down and they put this weight kind of around the label. It reduces the rumble on some turntables and makes the stability of the record better. Well, look, I've never used one. And quite frankly, I find it hard to tell the difference with my personal setup, but some people swear by these record weights. So this little product, the SID Def Jam, is really cool. It's a record weight that will serve the purpose for 12-inch records. However, it also comes with an extra feature, a small inner rubber washer along the edge that makes it the perfect size to snap in 7-inch records onto your turntable. So if you have a heap of 7 inches that you like to play, you no longer need to have those individual adapters. Just use this SID Def Jam on the 7-inch and it'll snap right into place. Now, these are designed for DJs who spin 45s quite a bit, and it enables quick placement and removal of records on the turntables. In fact, when you order these items from Australia, where they're made, they'll come in packets of 2, one for each DJ turntable. If you are only a single record player like myself, you could always get 2 and give one to a friend, that sort of thing. They're really cool. They're about $30 each, and they really are very handy items. Now again, I'll put the link to the website, or you could search Facebook for SID Def Jam to see them for yourself. All right, now here's a little interesting personal idea. Vinyl record cufflinks. Okay, I know many of you just kind of raised your eyebrow. Why is he talking about cufflinks? But look, most of us record nerds, we have to have day jobs to pay for our habits, right? And in that, we occasionally have to wear a suit. So when that happens, you can kind of buck the system or wear your individuality in the form of vinyl record cufflinks. Now, they look like vinyl record. They're not actual vinyl record cufflinks. They're plastic or metal or whatever they are. But they're kind of cool. In fact, I've had people in meetings notice mine, comment on my record cufflinks, only to discover that that person also collects vinyl records. And bingo, we have something immediately in common that we're both passionate about. So there are several options for vinyl record cufflinks. You could search eBay, but the coolest ones I know of are on Etsy, and they're about $20. So I'll put up some links for the podcast listeners to go directly to those. If you go to www.thevinylguide.com, look up this episode, there'll be some links to where you could see some of these vinyl record cufflinks and pick the ones you think look the coolest. Now, speaking of Etsy, there's also a very cool little item that I found Vinyl Guide listeners may enjoy. It's one of those now playing blocks. Now, let me explain. You ever put a record on and your partner or your roommate comes in and says, "Oh, what is this?" If they're always asking that question. Well, now you no longer need to constantly answer. You can just point them to the album cover on your now playing block. Now, this thing, it's a small piece of wood. It's machined to fit either a 7-inch slip cover or a 12-inch album cover near vertically so you could see the album art while you're sitting back and enjoying the tunes. Kind of like in a record shop when you see the now playing thing. Well, this is kind of a record block that does the same for your home setup. Now, they're about $25. So again, if you don't have these on your Christmas list, it's nice to have and enjoy for vinyl record collectors. Again, I've got a link directly to this on thevinylguide.com on this episode, so check it out, see what you think, and grab one if you like it. Now, the last product I'm going to talk about today in our first annual Vinyl Guide Holiday Gift Guide is going to be vintage vinyl journals. I know many of you may be sensitive on this topic, but it is an option. There are small businesses out there that turn old records into new products, and in this particular case, journals. The companies that I've contacted or at least seen, they claim to be using scrapped vinyl, records that are too old to do anything with, they're in bad shape, or they're just about to be headed to the dump. Really, there's no sense in taking a $50 record and turning it into a $30 journal. It makes no sense. So if you need a journal for your note-taking, getting a vintage vinyl journal could be a fun option. You'll have to pick out a record title you like because each journal is very unique. It could be Simon and Garfunkel. It could be Barbra Streisand. It could be U2 or the Beatles. Personally, I have one that's Iron Maiden, Live After Death, and it is really cool. It gets a lot of comments from people. The front has the record label from the Iron Maiden record, and the backside and some of the divider pages are record art from the actual sleeve. So it's pretty cool, and you could pick one of these up for around $30. They're highly individualistic, they're handmade, and they support local businesses. So again, I'll put a link on the Vinyl Guide website, and you can check out the selection, order, and hopefully have one in time for December 25th. So there we have it, the first annual Vinyl Guide Holiday Gift Guide. Hope you guys found it fun, hope you found it informative, and hope you found some ideas that are going to help you get some good, interesting stuff for the vinyl record collector on your holiday gift list. That's it for this week's episode. I know it was a short one. I've been giving you guys a bunch of long ones lately, but hopefully we condensed it down like a diamond and gave you guys some good information so you can get on with your week. We're going to be back next week with a brand new episode. A couple of really killer interviews coming up, so make sure you subscribe. www.thevinylguide.com. You Google Play listeners, go ahead and subscribe there as well. Make sure to write us a 5-star review on iTunes. Hop onto iTunes, log in, hit ratings and reviews, write a review, give us 5 stars, give us some love. That would be awesome. And make sure to tell your nerdy record friends about the Vinyl Guide podcast. Until next week, keep spinning. Cheers.
That's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Send your thoughts to Nate at thevinylguide.com or follow or tag us on Instagram at Vinyl Guide. Until next time, keep spinning.